Good morning, Leto fans, and welcome to another Blast from the Past. Today we're going to be looking at another set from the Time Cruisers series, or more specifically, the Time Twisters, who are basically the bad guys who want to make a profit off of time traveling, unlike the Time Cruisers, who are basically trying to do good and maybe counteract all this bad stuff that the Time Twisters were doing. But that aside, this is set 6495, the Time Tunnelator from 1997, otherwise known as the bat plane for kind of obvious reasons. There's just a lot of bat stuff and a lot of scallops and stuff going on here. If my autofocus can render and figure out what's actually going on here, I can actually share it with you. Yes, so here we have just a weird conglomeration of parts and things to make basically a flapping vehicle with a propeller on front. And if you didn't know what really you were looking at, if you just were to see all these parts just kind of strewn around, you wouldn't know what it was. And that's kind of the thing with Time Twisters and Time Cruisers in general. It was a grab bag. They had a lot of parts and a lot of weird things, which made some really cool vehicles, in my opinion. Just, you wouldn't see anything like this elsewhere except somebody's imagination. And that's awesome to me. But yeah, let me try to explain what's really going on here. So the wings themselves are actually kind of like the kite sail wings that you would see on just on the side here. That's being driven by this sort of actuating system where it would go up and down with a wheel. That in turn spins a little, basically a little belt, which would spin the propeller up the top. And then we have some bats here, which help support the wing. That's actually like a lance, and the bat's just kind of sitting on the part of the handle, which is clever. There's just a lot of clever little building techniques in this set, which is a real shame. Most people wouldn't see this set otherwise. Like, for instance, the fact that the lance is going into a barrel to kind of act as a little ball joint, maybe. That's kind of a cool little actuator thing that you don't see that often. I'm not really sure if that's a legal building technique because, I don't know, something's got to wear on the inside of that. But it seems to be working for now. In fact, a lot of this set works right out of the box. Unfortunately, I had to do a little configuration with a wheel back here. Why, the original wheel was this little red doodad here, which has no rubber on it at all, and it's actually kind of tight to the body. That was back here, of course, but I moved it up because I didn't want to break up the set in general, but I still wanted to have some fun and be able to flap it around like that. So I made a compromise and just kind of stuck a brand new wheel in the back and kept the old one in the front where nobody will be able to see it normally. But yes, so on the inside up here, there's a couple of sort of like tail fin parts here, and one tail fin is actually holding up the main body, I guess, the main platform of the overall vehicle, which is interesting. And the back here actually holds on just a little rudder, I guess. And there's rocket power. And like I mentioned previously in other videos, this is transparent neon orange, which underneath black light actually has a glowing effect, which is pretty awesome. This guy is just so fun. I enjoy playing with him often. In fact, I managed to piece them together by just finding a few random odd bits here and there while going through my Lego bin in my mass sorting through the last month or so. I found these two wings here on the side, along with a few of the rudders and a few of the parts of the undercarriage here. And it made me wonder, what set did that come through? What set was this at one point? And so through the power of the internet, I was able to piece it all together, quite literally. And yeah, I was able to figure out what set it was and piece it together that way. Oh, I almost forgot to take a look at the bad guy here. This guy was actually never officially named in the stories or the media of the Time Twisters. He was just named Bad Guy 1, which is really quite unfortunate because his name is actually Tony Twister. Yes, he has another literary name, Tony Twister, and he's also part of the Time Twisters, along with Professor Millennium, I believe. But yes, so he's got his little epaulets there and a cool little jacket, which seems a little familiar. And just nothing else but a little gruff look on his face, which I really kind of dig. He doesn't, I don't believe he has a nose. I think one of the bad guys does, or maybe I'm thinking of a Wild West set, which honestly these guys look a lot like the Wild West guys. So I wouldn't be too surprised if that's just a reused head, like all of the other parts here are just basically reused from other sets and other things. Like the bats are probably from the Fright Nights, which were released in 1997 as well. Of course, the jacket is reused, but that's no harm. That's no harm as long as you're having fun with it. And geez, I have a lot of fun with this thing. Just the flapping action alone is enjoyable. So anyway, that's a weird little set that not many people have seen, I don't think, or at least reviewed. Don't go backwards. Yes, so if you'd like to see more odd little sets and weird things from the past, just feel free to like and subscribe, and I guarantee you will see more. So until then, see you then.